Hi, welcome back. Today I'm not going to take too long on the intro because what I'm about to show you is going to be a longer video than you normally see on my channel. This is a recording of a presentation I gave on Halloween at the Cutler Real Estate office here in Canton. You will see some people dressed up in costume, totally normal. So with that, I'll let you take a little sneak peek in what I would be telling some individuals who are self-employed. Oh, and one other little note. My camera gave out twice during the presentation, so you will see that there are two small breaks in the presentation. So I tried to make it flow enough for you to understand what's going on. Enjoy.
Pleasant Wealth, LLC, right? Everyone, welcome Liz in.
Well, hi. Thanks for having me today. As Rich mentioned, I'm Liz Hand. I'm a certified financial planner with Pleasant Wealth. And the first real estate purchase that I started through the shopping process, it found me at 4th Street Northeast in Canton, Ohio.
How'd that work out?
My realtor stepped out of the car. She's young. It's one of my first interactions with her. And her comment to my husband and I is, no, 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 no. And then proceeded, as we walked in the house, she's ushering us in quickly, to chide us on the 3 L's of real estate. Location, location, location. So we didn't purchase that home until a few years later. When it was still on the market, we purchased it in 2014. Now, you're pretty savvy, obviously, in real estate. I'm not as savvy as you in real estate, but I have a couple of degrees in my back pocket, so does my husband. We're not dummies. But we made that purchase decision. And I imagine that there's somebody in the room, or several people in the room, that might have vehicles worth more than my home. I also recognize that my home, though current market value is probably about $35,000, it probably wouldn't sell for more than $25,000. My husband and I knew this going into it. So why did we make that purchase decision? Values. Everybody has values. What matters to them? There's a certain reason behind those purchases that people make. So yes, I'm a certified financial planner, and I do all of those fun things like budgets and analysis and investments, all of those nerdy things. But I view those as tools in my pocket, not something that you necessarily care about today. So I wanted to bring something different to the table for you that adds value to you in your practice. And so the focus for me as a certified financial planner is in 2 camps. Values, as I mentioned. What matters most to people? I believe that values drive purchases. The other part of it is that I hang out in the camp of behavior finance, which is the intersection, if you're not familiar with the term, behavior finance is the intersection of personal finance and psychology. Why are people doing what they do with money? Ties directly into your values. So, yes, my mantra is I believe that our values, what we care about most, will drive our pocketbooks. They will put us into situations where we make purchasing decisions that maybe to the common eye aren't common. So, additionally, I think that money weaves itself into our lives, whatever earnings capacity we're at, whatever our earnings potential is, whatever size of investment account that we have saved up today, money's woven into our lives. So we have to understand it. So what I understand is that today is goal decision day, goal making day in Cutler land. Each of you are writing down what you're pressing toward. And as you're making those smart goals for yourself for next year, I urge you to support them with your values. Because I too am in sales. I get it. I have to make sales goals every year too. But when I make these nominal financial goals for myself and they're not supported by my values, I have no motivation to press forward toward them. So keep in mind, where are you today? Where do you want to be? Why are you working so hard to do what you're doing? And let those values drive those goals that you set for yourself. All right, so I want want to prove my point because I'm a big fan of confirmation bias. And you understand, I've said several times, values drive purchases. So you understand this too because you're in real estate. So help me understand the values of a person. And I'm going to say what the buying decision is, and you can tell me why they're doing what they're doing with their values. And I have candy. So you have a young couple in Canton City proper with kids, and they move to the Plain Township. Education. Nice. All right, you've got an older couple selling their 30-year farmhouse. So much nostalgia. They're moving to a suburban area with a nice ranch-style home.
Downsizing.
Downsizing for what purpose?
First floor. Oh, yeah, the first floor. Make it easier on themselves.
Yeah. Simplicity, making life easier on themselves. And how about a farming couple? They have their farm and they pay a premium for the lot next door. Investment. That could be one. I'll give you that one. This is my last piece of candy. I was thinking privacy. Sometimes people like just to manage who their neighbors are. All right. So I'm really fascinated those last slides that Emily presented about how you transition from the 80% of realtors who have their commission check going to their savings account, and then you have the 15% where they've set up their business account, and they separate that out from their personal account, and then you have the 5% who are doing more investment styles. I would argue that that's not just Rockefellers. There's plenty of common folk that are doing that too. And how are you going to transition from one space to the next? Well, let me tell you, it'll be baby steps. It's not going to be all in one swoop. You can't expect to start this up today, but you can take your first step. So as a self-employed person, you've got a problem. So you have W-2 folks. They don't realize what they've got in the money management space. They've got all their business expenses paid for. They've got their taxes paid for. They never see their income taxes or their FICA or even necessarily retirement. They just get their paycheck at the end of the day. That runs their family. So for you, as a self-employed person, you have to figure out how to manage that space. Additionally, you have uneven cash flows. When's that next house going to sell? So you have to manage that. Make sure that you get those uneven cash flows and make it into a nice stream of income for yourself. And the third, which everybody battles with, no matter if they're in the W-2 space or the self-employed space, is that you're a human and you are battling yourself. And so I would argue with you today that until you automate your savings, you're going to be fighting this uphill battle against yourself. So I want to hash out a little bit about how this works. This is where the behavior finance, the psychology piece, plays into finance that I really enjoy. So I need two people. Can you come up here? And let's see here.
Yeah, you.
On this side. I've met you before.
Me?
Yes. Can you come and see?
Linda?
Linda. Okay, come on. And what's your name? Meredith. Meredith, I want you on this side. Linda, I want you on this side.
Okay.
All right. So, okay. So this is Liz. This is Liz. Meredith is Liz of the past, brightly colored. Linda is Liz of the future. And I, of course, am Liz of the present. We've introduced ourselves. Now, we are humans and we are battling ourselves, and we have to recognize that Liz of the past made all of these decisions that got Liz of the present here today. She made educational decisions, she made job decisions, she made marital decisions and baby decisions that give me my current situation today. We have to give grace to Liz of the past. She didn't know what she was doing. But we also have to recognize all of the great things that she's done for me today. I say us. All right. Liz of the future, yet to be. In fact, as humans, we can't really picture what our future self looks like. It seems so unreal that we have to make it a little bit more tangible. So I want you to visualize yourself in 3 people. Liz of the present dictates how Liz of the future will be. Liz of the present has every ability to make life cushiony, for Liz of the future to be able to retire when she wants to, for Liz of the future not to be a burden on her family, on her kids. But Liz of today has to get her act together and take those little steps so that Liz of the future is well taken care of. Conversely, Liz of the present needs to take care of Liz of the present too. I can't falsely impoverish myself by saving so much that Liz of the future is great and well off. Because I've got to put food on the table. I've got to take vacations because we all need balance in our life. So I want you to keep that visual, thank you for your participation, you may have a seat, in mind as you are battling yourself. The other problem that we have is that time moves so quickly. So I didn't realize this. I was blissfully ignorant until I had 2 kids, and now my oldest is 3 years old, and I feel like time just goes like that. And it's like once we leave our educational cycle of time, every September we're going back to class. Once we leave that space, time just speeds up. So if we are not mindful of how time is speeding up, and we don't act now, we're probably not going to get to it. So oftentimes, when I talk in front of people, there are maybe some feelings of shame because we haven't started as early as we possibly could. That typical financial advisor comes in and says, well, if you're 22 and you put $100 down or $200 a month down every single year until you're 29, you can stop because you'll have $1 million by 65. That same person starts at 29 and keeps saving that $200 every month, has to save all the way to 65 just to have that same $1 million. Well, I'm 30. I've missed my window. I guess I'm just no. We have to engage now and take the steps now to set ourselves up for success in the future. Going from 0 to 15 is a really big step. You're going to artificially impoverish yourself now because you're having to figure out your taxes and your FICA, and then 15% is a lot. So has everybody heard of the boiling the frog, how you go about that process? Nobody? Ah, awesome. All right, boiling the frog. You take a frog, it's live, and you want to boil it. But if you put it in too hot of water, it's going to jump right out. So what you got to do is you got to put the frog in a pot of water that's room temperature. That frog's going to camp out, and then you slowly turn up the heat. It doesn't realize what's happening, and boom, it's boiled. All right, same thing with our finances. You've got to trick yourself. Frog legs. You got to trick yourself because we are humans and we get in the way of ourselves all the time. So this is how you need to start setting up the automated system. That's going to help you trick yourself. You set up your account and you start with a little bit saving towards it. It's not the full 15, but maybe it's $100 or $200. And then you slowly tick it up over time and have scheduled times that you're ticking that dollar amount up that you're saving. But how do I start today? I have 3 psychologically satisfying ways for you to save today. The one first is that I want you to start treasure hunting for reimbursements, for money that you're spending twice. So money that you're spending twice. Biggest example is tax day. If you have any type of return coming back, save it. Don't spend it twice. You've already spent it. You've already built it into your cash flow. Set it to the side. You're buying dinner for a friend. They pay you back later. Save it. Don't spend it twice. You've already built it into your cash flow. So you want to treasure hunt for those reimbursements and save them. That's number 1. Number 2 is stop budgeting your way to savings. I know salespeople. You're not necessarily always the ones that like to sit down and number crunch, and that's okay. You don't have to. People think they'll stop, they will keep from saving because they feel like they have to go through their budget, start slashing and burning things, and then get to the point of savings. But just like boiling that frog, start a little bit, build it into your lifestyle, and you will automatically adjust your life around your savings, which is where you want to be. And the third is to compartmentalize. This is another psychological term. Compartmentalizing is, so the issue with that first realtor who has the 80%, and the way that they're taking their money is that it's all one big slush fund. And so that same $8,000 check that you talked about gets spent like 3 different times, 4 different times before we actually spend the money. And so if I already tagged it for, oh, I'm going to use that for a home improvement, or I'm going to use that for my kids' college, or oh, I'm going to use that for my retirement, but then it still stays in that fund, it's gone when we have our everyday expenses. So you've got to compartmentalize. You've got to set yourself up with those different types of accounts and funnel the money to where they go. It's going to help you understand your money better and help you save better. So that is all I have for today for you. It's been a pleasure. I would love to answer any questions that you have. Question and answer is typically where the fun happens. So. Yes, sir.
Okay, so, obviously, like I've been doing this 30 years, so the first, I don't know how many years with all these kids, I just barely had enough to keep paying my bills. So I couldn't really seem to get the position where I could set money aside. And as you do more, you spend more, you know how it is.
Mm-hmm.
So, say at age 50, well, I'm 58. So at age 58.
He's 83.
He's 84. Just kind of like you gotta plant different trees because you don't have as much time to watch them grow. So is there like a formula at age, say, 50, if you're trying to get caught up, what should you be doing, hypothetically?
There is a formula. There's different software that you can do. It's financial planning. You set up what your goals are, what is realistic for you. Do you plan to retire? Maybe, maybe not. In real estate, you can really work as long as you want. Yeah, cut back. Retirement looks different for everybody. It's not all just sitting around. So with your retirement lifestyle, you would just want to know, what is it that I need to get accomplished? How often do I need to be buying a car? Are there any big expenses that I need to be paying? And that goes into this financial planning software, and then it kind of helps you give those levers to say, okay, you're not going to reach your goal, but what's going to get you there? You can save an extra $300 a month, or you can cut back on the amount that you spend on cars every 7 years, or you could say, instead of every 7 years, maybe I'll stretch it to 8 years for cars. There's different levers that you can pull. So there's not a specific formula that I can just spit out.
Like Social Security is kind of like an important thing to me.
Yeah.
Is in addition to like maybe real estate commissions or rental property commissions or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a scary thing when you get like to the later part of 50.
Mm-hmm.
You just want to make sure it's still there. That's an important key piece that I put a ton of money into.
Sure, yeah. Yeah, especially as a self-employed person, you're paying both sides of Social Security. So my humble opinion, I've actually done quite a bit of research with Social Security for the baby boomer, which I'm assuming that's what you're saying.
I'm at the tail end of it.
Tail end of baby boomers. So I don't see a lot of changes necessarily for you, but for someone my age, I do see lots of changes that need to happen. There are many different levers that can be pulled by the government to get things in line. As of right now, this whole notion of Social Security going away, as of right now, if nothing changes, then the trust fund, OASDI trust fund, is going to run out, 2039, I believe is the year. Now what that means, it's not that Social Security goes away at that point, it's just you have all of the younger folks who are still paying into Social Security, paying in, and then those who are collecting only get to take out what's put in, so it's an in and out type of system. So the maneuvers that they pull today and sooner rather than later are going to shape it and just continue to let it grow. But it was always meant to be a pay-as-you-go system and not actually build up a trust fund. I have a whole presentation on it. You'd be welcome to join sometime.
It might seem like that ended a little bit briefly. The last question that was asked was just to talk about this YouTube channel that I have. So you sitting here on the YouTube channel, you're aware of it. So the only thing you need to know from that part of the presentation was click that big red button below, subscribe. I create a video a week and love to have you along. You take care.